Okay, good morning. Hey, Josh, you made it. Welcome. Beth, hey. Willie, yes, good morning to you. Oh, wow. Okay, Beth, where are you at? Oh, wait a minute here. I need to kill that audio so I don't blow my own ears out. There you are. There you are. Boom. Okay, Beth. Now you're taken care of. Ha. Well, I know I've seen you a couple of times over on Monkey Streams. Um, I don't catch his streams live very often anymore unless he happens to stream very early or very late. But now, what I do for Monkey, and I do it for Jack when for his stuff, is make certain you catch. If you watch them on Rumble, make sure you at least do a playthrough at twice speed for YouTube or vice versa. On the times I'm catching him live, I'll do it live on both Rumble and YouTube at the same time. That way, he's at least getting and giving the thumbs up or whatever, so that he's feeding the algorithm. Well, his stream was actually early this morning, Beth. When I got up at 4:30, he was still streaming, and he only did a little over 2 hour stream. So, and I try, hey, entire morning, and I try not to watch his stream before I stream. That way, I don't get nothing I say is influenced by him, which may or may not be good. I don't know. But it just makes sense that, let me say what I got to say, then I watch him. And if he changed my mind on something, then so be it. I will make mention of it the next day, but whatever. What a goat. Okay. And the big news of the morning. Wow. Kamala has picked her vice president. Harris selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. So she's going for the old white man vote there. You're not white anymore. Oh no. You're dealing with a puppy niece. What is a puppy niece? Your niece's puppy? Okay. But anywho, high school football coach. He's the one that started calling Trump weird. So that is that. I mean, let's see here. Vice President Kamala Harris has now personally informed Minnesota Governor Tim Walz she has selected him as a running mate. Harris informed Walz via video call they are expected to appear together for their first joint rally in Philadelphia. Now, I've already heard from some people from Pennsylvania that are upset that they didn't pick Shapiro, their governor. Well, Warren Ramen, I did half expect her to go for an all female, Beth. I did half expect her to go with all female and take Whitman as her running mate. But Pennsylvania now, Minnesota is Minnesota is pretty well locked in for Democrats. They've got that. So, and Pennsylvania can go either way. And she may have been able to pick, shore up Pennsylvania a little bit better if she had gone with Pennsylvania's governor. Let's see here. What's this note here say? As Vice President Kamala Harris enters the final stretch of deliberating over vice presidential nomination, the campaign is armed with research, vetting materials, and polling. All right, now the three finalists: Pennsylvania Shapiro, Minnesota Waltz, and Arizona Kelly were shown in the polling data as moving the Harris-Trump national matchup beyond the margins. Both Shapiro and Kelly were shown to improve the Democratic ticket's chances against Trump in Pennsylvania and Arizona, but those improvements were only on the margins. So this is going to be interesting here. And honestly, I don't know a whole hell. I mean, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about Waltz. So like everybody else, there's going to be a lot of research done on this guy by everybody. Okay, let's see here. Donald Trump's campaign press secretary slammed Governor Waltz, called him a West Coast wannabe, and spent his governorship trying to reshape Minnesota in the image of California. Let's see. Trump's already started campaigning off of Waltz's name. So that's going to be, like I said, I don't know a lot about the guy, so I can't get into a whole bunch. Of background on the guy. Okay, served in the Army National Guard. Former teacher. Well, educator. Who not going to say teacher. But there's that. Okay. So I can't give a whole lot. I mean, that's about all I'm going to say about that. But I really want to come back to Kamala. I'm going to start this off with Kamala and why I think this is such a joke. You know, anybody wanting me to, well, like I said, I really figured that if she picked Whitmore to be her partner, they could go, all right, first all female ticket, and that would really shore up the feminist vote. And also, Whitmore could play up her, the FBI kidnapping plot. And now, Whitmore did have some drawbacks, some of the ways that she ran the state during COVID and the lockdowns. But again, I thought, I really did think that they were that a all female ticket was going to be a thing to do for them. Try to make history there, an all female ticket. And that way they could say anybody who's voting against them was obviously a sexist, because who wouldn't want two women in the White House? That is a one of the things that was brought up. Kamala is not as supportive of Israel as Biden has been. She is much more on the Palestinian side. That's why she has so much support among the squad. One of the reasons why. So, but I forget, is Shapiro a practicing Jew religiously, or is he a non-religious? Is he only ethnically Jew, not religiously Jew? Well, Raman, that's pretty much true of any politician. They look out for themselves first, for the most part. I'm and I'm going to have to say this, with having said that other comment. Trump is the only president ever to donate all of his presidential pay to charitable organizations. He is the only one. And he's the only president whose wealth has gone down during his presidency. He's also the only former president that has been charged with so many crimes and had laws enacted specifically to target him. So Trump doesn't fill any of the normal squares that politicians fill. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many people like him. Yeah, he's extremely rich. but he doesn't act like he's extremely rich. Yeah, he's got that fondness for gold and glittery things at Trump Tower at his home. But I mean, how many McDonald's burgers does that man eat in a week? And if I remember, I read somewhere the man actually puts ketchup on his steaks. Oh, that's about 3 different shades of disgusting. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, only people who hate good meat or when I get served, when I go out to eat a steak and the server brings me my steak and asks me if I want some A1 sauce or ketchup or anything for on it, I always ask them if it needs it. And when they look at me and say, well, if this steak needs A1 sauce or if it needs ketchup on it to make it edible, then I want you to send it back and let me order something else. Because a good steak doesn't need anything after it's been brought to the table added to it. um, Now, I'm going to fully admit I probably scorched a few of my taste buds with the amount of hot sauces and how hot of hot sauces and chilies and such I've eaten over the years. But I still won't put ketchup on it or A1 sauce or anything else on my steak. Hey, Spanky, what you doing, buddy? Yeah, you being a good pupper here. Spanky decided to join me on the couch. Good puppy, good puppy. All right. So let's get back to some of the other stuff here. Some of this is old news. Everybody's known about for a few days. I missed a week of streaming, so some of it, I just want to throw in my 2 cents worth here. Vice President Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, acknowledged Saturday in a statement to CNN that he'd had an affair during his first marriage. During my first marriage, Kirsten and I went through tough times on account of my actions. I took responsibility. In the years since, we've worked things as a family and come out stronger. Had an affair with his then young daughter's teacher. The Daily Mail reported that the woman became pregnant and did not keep the child. So they sort of left that open as to whether or not she aborted the baby or put it up for adoption. My personal hopes is that she put it up for adoption. I doubt it, but that's my personal hope. Now the thing is does anybody really care? Would you make a vote based upon a politician spouse having had an affair? I wouldn't. That's between the spouses. That's not between us and the politician. Should we base a vote on whether or not the politician had an affair? Most times, in most cases, I would say yes. Because if the politician is going to cheat on their spouse, a person that they married, may have had children with, but took sacred vows to love and honor, and they cheated, then again, in most cases, I would say yes. That should be taken into consideration because if they're going to cheat on their spouse, lie to their spouse, they're going to lie to us. But that's pretty much a given anyway that they're going to lie to us. And yes, even Trump. Now, can a politician, and this is, again, my opinion here, people. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody else. But can a politician's positions on multiple issues outweigh the fact that they cheated on their spouse? Again, like Trump. Yes, especially when you got a choice between only two politicians running for an office. Then you have to, put things on that scale. All right. And again, I'm going to use this year's elections. All right. You've got Kamala. She has already said that after 100 days, if Congress doesn't pass the gun restrictions, gun laws, she's going to try to do it by executive order. Now, as most of y'all know, I carry a firearm with me. I've got one sitting on the desk on my table next to my computer here right now. Oh, Barracuda is a good song. Ramen, you're right. It would have said it, but I've still got to give room for possibilities, slim though they may be. You're right. It would get me shut down. And while Trump is not as solid on the Second Amendment as I would like him to be, he is much better positioned than on that position than Kamala is. Kamala's for open borders. Let's just say it. All right. She is not against illegals entering the country. She is for that. Trump wants to build that wall. And y'all know my position. I'm even harder than Trump is, personally. And last night I came across the guy streaming, doing a live. And he's sitting there admitting he's in the country illegally. He's got family in Mexico that owns businesses, houses, property, and everything else. So he could go to Mexico and live quite comfortable. But he's in the United States illegally, and he's married, has never made a step one, to become legal, and won't make a step to become legal. He doesn't want to become legal, and believes that anybody who says he should become legal in any way, shape, or form is a racist xenophobe. Hey, old guy, good morning. Josh, you're not far wrong. Except she's not Castro's daughter. Personally, I want to see every person in this country that is here illegally. And I don't care how they're illegal, whether they cross the borders illegally, overstayed visas, or anything else. I want them deported. I want them deported. Anybody that's here, that's in the country, and they've, requesting asylum or refugee status, deport them. Deport them. There was a big ruckus the other day. A woman who requested refugee/asylum status, claiming that she had been raped and otherwise abused physically and mentally in her home country by the gangs and whatnot. The judge, hearing her case, said, all right, yeah, I believe that may have happened to you. But he ordered her deportation. And people all up in arms. How dare he? He sent her back to where she was sexually assaulted, to where she was beat up, to where this. She entered the country illegally. She did not go through the proper steps to enter the country. There may have been more grace on the side of the judge if she was not case 7,999,000 of people who have entered the country illegally, then all of a sudden started making claims of abuse and whatever in their home countries. Maybe that judge just got tired of hearing the same excuses over and over and over. The same reasons, the same situation being repeated just by a different person. Yeah, Wiley, that base was attacked last night. But when it boils right down to it, I want the wall built. And while I know it's a violation of the Posse Comitatus, I want to see National Guard or active duty military stationed along both borders. Along the Great Lakes, have the Navy or Coast Guard patrolling, intercepting boats coming from the north, from Canada. That's what I want to see. You hear the news reports of 10 million illegals. They've been reporting 10 million illegals now for the past 40 years. If I were to be able to place a bet, I would put it at over 40 million illegals are in this country. And if you want to count descendants, I'd take it up to over 80 million. And thanks to court rulings, those descendants are legal citizens. I want to see that portion change to of the birthright citizenship, that at least one of the parents had to be a citizen at the time of the child's birth, not just that they were birthed on U.S. soil, but one of the parents, and not adoptive parents, but the biological mother or father, had to be a U.S. citizen at the time of birth, not in the process of becoming a citizen or anything else. They were either a born citizen or a naturalized citizen. All right, we'll talk to you later, Josh. You have a good one. Hopefully that's a quick fix. Well, Minnesota, where is this? I didn't get that story today. Let's see. There was an article here just this past week. About I believe it was in Minnesota that there was a lot of illegals were signed up to vote for this year's election. I can't find that. I just did a quick Google search and can't find it. I'll look for it and to put it into the next stream. But Kamala, okay, so let's go look at the next thing, Kamala. Kamala is 100% for abortion. In fact, they are tying every state. If you listen to them, every state that has put any restrictions on abortion. They call it Trump's abortion law. They try to tie any, they try to say that it's Trump that made abortion illegal. Trump didn't do it. And Trump, in fact, is actually not anti abortion past 16 weeks or prior to 16 weeks. Got that back ass words there for a moment. Trump actually says that he wants it to be a state's issue. And if the people in the state want to make abortion legal, then the people in the state have the right to make abortion legal in their state. If the people in the state want to make abortion illegal, then that's the right of the people in that state. And this is one of the things I think Trump has right. And not just on abortion, but on a lot of issues. That's not up to the federal government to be making these decisions. But it's up to the people of the individual states. You all have heard me say this time and time and time again. We are the United States of America. We are 50 individual, at this time, we're 50 individual states. That have agreed to have a federal government, a centralized government, to handle some issues. The biggest issue that they're supposed to handle is protection of the country. But not all issues. In fact, when you read the Constitution, it tells you in the Constitution exactly what the job of the federal government is, what the job of the executive is, what the job of the House, what the job of the Senate, what the job of the judiciary branches are. They tell you specifically what their jobs are. Then you get to the Bill of Rights. And it tells you exactly what can and cannot, what our rights are as citizens of this country that the government cannot touch. And it's pretty well laid out there. Let's see here. I'm trying to. I just got something I had to look at real quick. I apologize, people. Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm being distracted here. Okay, you know the tenth. Let's look at the Tenth Amendment. Tenth Amendment's real simple. All right, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. The powers of the federal government were outlined in the Constitution, and everything else belongs to the states or to the people. And I've said this before, our Congress, being the lazy idiots that they are, have decided they're going to, instead of doing their jobs, they're going to create agencies like the NEA and other alphabet agencies to do their job for them. You know, that's one of the things of the Chevron decision, and it being overturned by the Supreme Court here recently. It forces Congress to do their actual damn job and not allow the executive branch to sit there and run roughshod over the people and over the states by creating their own laws without them going actually becoming laws, without them going through the process of becoming a law. You heard people complain, well, Congress aren't the experts. Congress doesn't have the expertise to understand. That's why we created these agencies to fill them with the experts. The agencies aren't filled with the experts. The agencies are filled with political hacks who have been appointed or hired based upon their politics. We all know that. There's nothing stopping Congress from bringing in an expert or a panel of experts to discuss bills. That's what congressional hearings are for. That's what the debates are supposed to be about on the floor when they're talking about these bills. But Beth, you're asking, is it Congress's job in the first place? Yes, it is Congress's job in the first place. At least that's my opinion. We've got a lot of subject matter experts in the Congress. We've got doctors on both sides of the aisle in the Congress. We've got military people on both sides of the aisle in the Congress. We've got lawyers by the ton in the Congress. We've also got farmers. So we actually do have some subject matter experts already in the Congress on both sides of the aisle. Neither side has a lockstep on subject matter experts already being elected to the House or the Senate. But once they get in there, they're more concerned about getting reelected. Now, for the House members, I can sort of understand because they're only there for 2 years. And the first year that they're there, they're still trying to figure out what in the hell they're doing, what the rules are, and how they're supposed to play by the rules. Then the second year, they spend their second year campaigning to be reelected for their second term, so they have a third and fourth year in office. Sometimes I wonder if 2 years is sufficient time in the House for a representative. And y'all have heard me talk about term limits in the past, where I don't believe Congress should have term limits. But I am slowly changing my mind on that. I've said many times that that I don't believe it's right to restrict a person's the right of the people to have the same person represent them in the Congress if they want to. But the people who are changing my mind the most on this are the Congress critters like Nancy Pelosi. How in the hell, on congressional salary, did she become a multimillionaire without cheating the system? That's one of the issues that has caused me to rethink my position on term limitations. How did that ever happen? How does that happen? And it's not just Pelosi. It's not, I mean, Mitch McConnell. He, again, how did he manage to become multimillionaire? Now, granted, his family owned a shipping business before he ran for office. But his personal wealth has still gone up extravagantly high. So there are people, and I've got plenty to bash on both sides of the aisle when it comes to that. And right now, the only constitutional amendment that's out there floating around, been floating around forever, that right now I would fully support would be requiring that Congress cannot exempt itself from any of the laws that it passes. And I really and truly want to have the we all should know about the slush fund Congress has to pay out people, mostly women, but quite a few men, who pay off people from bringing charges, SA charges against Congress critters. They've got a slush fund to do that. Pay people off so that they don't bring charges, usually SA, against Congress critters. I want to know who's gotten that money and how much. Because this taxpayers' dollars, folks. We got the right to know where that money went and who got it. But that is kept a deep, dark secret within Congress. You cannot get your hands on those books. See who's been paid off. I want to see that money. I want to see which Congress critter gave or authorized or requested that somebody else get a few $100,000 to keep their mouth shut. Remember, that's what they went after Trump for. Well, if they can go after Trump, let's take a look at that secret solace fund that's paid for out of our tax dollars. I think I've pretty much made my position on abortion clear. All right. I'm against all abortions. I do not believe in killing the baby, a viable baby. That doesn't mean that all abortions are bad, that there should be no abortions. As much as I detest the idea of killing an unborn child, if it comes down to the life of the mother, I'm going to weep just as hard for the unborn baby as I would have wept for the mother. Now, if that baby has absolutely zero chance of surviving outside of the womb, because of gross birth defects, that's another hard pill to swallow. And I would hate to be the one to have to make that call. Would I want the child to be born alive, then die a few hours later? Possibly die a miserable death, painful death? I would hate to have to make that call. And I would be hard pressed to condemn parents who had to make that call. But we're talking about basically very, very few abortions would fit into either one of those two categories. Now, some have called for incest and rape victims. That should be automatic. If they want to, they can. How this is very, very, very difficult decision. Do you put the woman through the 9 months to deliver a child that she was, forcibly put inside of her? But what did that child do wrong? That child didn't do anything wrong. Why should it be killed because it is the result of a crime by another person? Child could be put up for adoption. There are people out there, full blown adults now, who were conceived by force. Some were raised by the mother, others were put out for adoption. I don't like seeing innocent lives taken, born or unborn. Yeah, Tyre, the rape claims go up regardless. All right. And especially on college campuses. Men are accused of it because the next day the women, the woman's friends, how could you have sex with him? He's this, he's that. You couldn't have consented because you were drinking. And see, that's another thing that gets my goat. That same woman driving home after having drunken sex with a man gets pulled over by the cops. She's guilty of a DUI and loses her license and spends time in jail because she drove drunk. She's held responsible for her actions because she drove drunk. But she's not responsible for actions for having sex while drunk. Hypocrisy? Yeah, I know that scenario has been thrown out there before by other people smarter than I am. But how can a person be held responsible for one action, not for the other under the identical circumstances? Obviously, y'all know me. You know that I stand with Israel on this present issue between them and Gaza right now. This is, and Harris is more attuned to the Palestinians and Gaza than she is to Israel. She hasn't been out there and made a lot of comments about it. But in order to get the votes, she's going to come down because she doesn't want to be that wedge. She doesn't want to be, to her, this is a freebie because she's not really defined herself on this, not strongly. And she doesn't want, there's a large contingent of young people, college age people. We've seen the protest. And she's not going to want to do anything to drive them away. So she's going to come down strong, more strongly on the side of Gaza and the Palestinian people. That's going to happen. She's already once earlier said, something to the effect is Israel's killed too many innocent Palestinians. Again, okay, my opinion here. There aren't any innocent Palestinians because they voted for Hamas. They haven't kicked Hamas out. The so-called innocent Palestinians have been the one guarding the hostages in their homes. If there are truly innocent Palestinians, Egypt would have allowed them to enter their country. But Egypt's got a stronger wall between Gaza and them than Israel does. Can we imagine anything that she's going to do for the economy? Every time I think of her and the economy, I keep going back to her Marxist rooted saying, we shall be unburdened by the past in our future. We'll forget, okay? Remember, that is Marxist. That is that statement has its roots in Marxism and communism. Those are, the North Koreans, that's how the North Koreans, give up your, we want everybody to be equal. We want, free health care. We want free education. We want to make sure everybody has plenty of food. China, the getting rid of what our fathers taught us and let's start all over again. Let's be unburdened by our past. Let's forget about our past. So I cannot imagine what Kamala would do to our economy if she did anything with it at all. I just, she fully supported the student debt relief. Thank you. I'll get my mind there. She is a climate nut. Green energy, the Green New Deal. She is going to hurt us on that. I can see what can be unburdened by what has been. Yeah. That burden, unburdened by the past. Some of these burdens by the past are burdens that people want to carry. All right, let's just admit that up front. All right, reparations being the biggest issue there. I don't know where she stands on the reparations issue. That'd be kind of interesting. My gut tells me that she would be all for it as a way of cleansing herself of her grandfather having owned slaves. Or was it her great grandfather having owned slaves? Either way, having a slave owner in her history. So that'd be a way of cleansing herself of that family sin by being for reparations. Remember, she's also against fracking, which has been a serious way of us getting more oil. And remember what Trump said, on his first day in office, he's going to be a dictator. For the first day and first day only. Building the wall and drill, baby, drill are going to be his two issues. That's what he, and that, if you listen to Harry Sisson and those other Sisson and these other nutcases, see, Trump said he's going to be a dictator. They cut off where he says only for day one. Then after that, no more. All right. Let's get over to another subject here. Still, though, it's going to involve Kamala in the long run. DHS has released at least 99 terrorism suspects into the U.S. House report concludes. So, this is Jim Jordan and crew. Come on, close. The Biden administration has caught and released at least 99 illegal immigrants whose identities match the terrorism watch list. They were caught by Border Patrol on the southern border between 2021 through 2023 and were subsequently released as part of the Biden administration's more relaxed approach to immigration, the House Judiciary Committee. All right, something's wrong here. What is going on with this page? Can I refresh it? All right. Can I close that tab, that window there? No, that video player is not going to close. That sucks. All right. Let's see here. Another 34 illegal immigrants flagged by the watch list are still being held as of June. Since the start of the fiscal year 2021, Border Patrol agents at the southern border detected 375 people whose names triggered the watch list, including 282 from 2021 through 2023. That indicates that more than 1/3 of terrorism watch list migrants have been released. These encounters span 36 countries, including terrorism from Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia, Syria, to okay, whatever this stand is, and Yemen. At least 27 of the terrorism suspects were granted bond by the immigration judge, 4 were granted asylum. Investigators said most immigration judges don't have access to top secret information, meaning they may not even know the dangers presented by the migrants appearing before them and asking for release. Why? Why is DHS withholding that information from the judges? Why is Mayorkas withholding that information? Hey, Digi, good morning. What you've missed my usual rants here about why should, the first bit about, why, with Kamala's positions, why should I vote for her? I have to laugh every time I get told I need to vote for Kamala. Oh, two things I forgot to bring up here. Digi, you made me think about it. Two things I forgot to. The Harris campaign has admitted that regardless of what it is, they're trying what position it is. If they disagree with Trump, they are trying their best. They're saying that is part of the Heritage Foundation's 2025 papers. That wish list by the Heritage Foundation, some of which I agree with, some of it I disagree with. But they have managed to tar and feather that 2025 wish list so badly, and they're continuing to try Trump to it with everything to make him seem much more radical than what he really is. I wish I could laugh at it. But if I'm laughing, it's like when I'm, laughing going through a graveyard at midnight during a full moon. And you're hearing footsteps behind you and the rustling of wings overhead of you. It actually scares me that she's going to get in office. It actually scares me. Because while we have managed to barely survive through a Biden administration, I don't know if the country can survive economically through a Harris administration. I'm no great orator. I'm not a great speaker. Y'all have heard me talk. I'm not a great speaker. But if you put me down in front of Kamala or side by side Kamala, and we just had to, no prepared notes, no prepared anything. I would beat Kamala hands down. When she got it, y'all, I know y'all had to have heard her when she was asked about cloud technology. Oh my God, that was so bad. That was Kamala on cloud. see if I can find the video of that. You know, it's above us, it belows us, it's like, you have got to be kidding me. That I don't see it. I don't. If somebody has a link to the video where she's talking about cloud, oh, and her AI, oh my God, her AI, 2 letters for artificial intelligence. It's like, no, Kamala, what are you doing? Okay, but anyway, back to this immigration here. And remember, this is Mayorkas. This is under Mayorkas. At least 27 of the terrorism suspects are granted bond by the immigration judge. Oh, okay. Da, da, da. Releasing terrorists into the United States has become almost routine for the Biden-Harris administration, said the report, prepared by the Republican staff at House Judiciary Committee and released by Jim Jordan. The number of terrorist suspects detected have been known, but what happened to them has been guarded by the Biden administration. Republicans on Capitol have been pressed to make the data public. The report says the data came from Homeland Security Department in June. In testimony on Capitol Hill, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has acknowledged that some are released and others detained. The fact that they are on the terrorist watch list, they should not have been released into the country. That's enough. Deport their asses. Deport them. Why are you letting suspected terrorists into the country? Why are they a priority for detention? When you've released them into the country, how can they be a priority for detention when you've released them? But this is what we're getting under Biden and Harris. This is what we're getting under them. I can't wait to close this tab. In June, Border Patrol arrested 3 people whose identities triggered the watch list. That was the lowest number in a single month since Homeland Security began reporting the numbers in 2022. I'm not going to be able to get the rest of it. But why are we allowing illegal, people on the terrorist watch list into the country to start with? Would you allow? You've got a list of thieves, of burglars, and other. You got a list of pedophiles. Would you allow these people into your home? You know who they are because you got their name on a list. Would you allow these people into your home? No, you wouldn't. But why is our Department of Homeland Security, our border agents, And it's not the agents, excuse me. It's Homeland Security. Why are they allowing these people into our country? Why are they allowing people whose names are on the watch list because they are known terrorists or having ties with terrorists into our country? And these are just the ones they've caught. There's no accounting for which ones got through that didn't get caught. They've released almost 100 of them into the country. Let's, would anybody be surprised if another 100 or so got in, but they weren't caught? So their names were never matched up against the watch list? At least 200 more, 300 more, besides the 100 that they released? Excuse me, 99. How many have gotten into our country we don't know about? My home, I've got a 6-foot privacy fence all the way around my house. When my fence got torn down by the hurricane, one of my first priorities was to get a new fence put back up. One, I like my privacy. I like being able to sit out on my patio in the early morning or in the late evening and relax without everybody and their brother driving down the road or the neighbors seeing me out there doing it. Why if shouldn't we have the same fence protecting our country? Shouldn't we have that same fence protecting our country, protecting it from people coming in that we don't want to come in, forcing these people to come in through the allotted entry points and not just wherever the hell they want to come in through? Now, Grant, we're a big country, all right? We are a big country. We've got thousands of miles of unprotected border just by the ocean. How many miles of coast does the U.S. have? There we go. According to Statista.com, we've got 12,383 miles of coastline and a shoreline of 88,633 miles. Now, what's the difference between coastline and shoreline is, I'm not exactly certain, but either way, that's thousands of miles. Now, we can't protect thousands of miles of coastline or of shoreline. We can't protect all of it. So are people using boats going to be able to enter the country illegally? Yes. Our Coast Guard does a wonderful, or could do a wonderful job of protecting a lot of the coastlines and shorelines. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They could do they if they were allotted to do what they need to do, they could do a wonderful job. If given the manpower and the materials that they need, they could do an even better job. The coastline, just the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and I think a little bit of Alabama. But anyway, they could do a wonderful job protecting that. They could do a wonderful job of protecting the California coastline if given the manpower and materials. They could do a wonderful job protecting from the Great Lakes area and up around the Maine, the New England states, and Washington State, and Oregon. They could do a wonderful job. So I'm not going to take anything away from them. But they can't protect the entire shoreline. That even for somebody like me, reality's got to smack you in the face sooner or later and say, yes, there's still going to be unprotected shoreline that illegals could get into the country. There was a couple of old movies, one of them a comedy. The Russians are coming, the Russians are coming. Where a Russian sub, I think it was California, but it may have been one of the New England states. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Okay. Oh, Tyler, you looked that up, huh? Coastline is the border between continents. Shores are between landed areas. So lakes have shores. Ah, okay. Oceans have coastline. Okay, gotcha. All right, that makes sense, Tyler. Thank you. All right. Thank you. I'd never thought of it that way, but thank you for educating me. Appreciates it. This is why I like you guys. I say I don't know something, and somebody's going to look it up for me and educate me. Or if y'all disagree with me, y'all go and throw up your disagreement. I love that. I really do. People have been trying to talk me into going for the term limits now for a couple of years. And I'm starting to get irritated enough that I'm willing to go with it. I really and truly am. I'm getting irritated enough at our Congress. And even though I think we'll end up hurting ourselves by getting rid of some good Congress critters, maybe in the long run, overall, we'll be better off. Because we've got too many Nancy Pelosi's and Mitch McConnell's and Dick Durbin's. We just got too many of them in the Congress. Way too many. We need to get some of them out of there. And I'm talking both parties here, not just Democrats. But it does seem the Democrat ones are the ones that whose names come up the most. All right, what's this other article here I got pulled up? Okay. Still going back to DHS and illegals. DHS is scrambling to prepare ahead of an amnesty program for immigrant spouses as critics expect fraud. Homeland Security Department is on a crash course to recruit and train people ahead of the August 19th launch of President Biden's latest deportation amnesty for illegal immigrants married to U.S. citizens. 2 weeks before the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is supposed to start accepting applications, the agency hasn't revealed vital details such as the cost and what sort of criminal entanglements will be forgiven for the new parole program. Absolutely no criminal entanglement should be forgiven. I don't care if it's a damn DUI. I don't care if it's shoplifting. I don't care if it's anything. I don't care. And remember, I say that anybody in this country illegally has committed a crime every day that they're in this country illegally. And it's a new crime. It's not just one crime you entered the country illegally. If you've been in the country 300 a year, then you have got 365 charges that should be brought against you. The first charge is entering the country illegally, and then the 364 charges of staying in the country illegally. Every day should be a new charge. Washington Times has learned the training won't begin until August 19th. For some of the 267 staff positions dedicated to processing the applications. Oh, crap. Washington Times is having issues this morning, it looks like. Mr. Biden announced the program more than 6 weeks ago. Those on all sides of the debate are surprised so many holes remain this close to the debate. We don't have any clear details yet. Whose group plans on to operate clinics to help applicants. One detail is clear. USCIS is creating a 100% virtual office to handle the applications. An internal email last month said the agency was rushing to recruit immigration officers, assistants, and supervisors for the new virtual office known as Waivers and Temporary Status, or WATS. The email from Connie Nolan, Associate Director of the USCIS Service Center Operations, confirmed the training for the background won't begin until the 19th, the date the program is supposed to start taking applications. Well, that's telling all of us right then and there that it's going to be immediately backlogged. Immediately backlogged. If people aren't trained and qualified when the program starts, and they're going to get thousands of applications that first week. That first day, they're going to get thousands of applications. So they're immediately going to be behind the 8 ball. And again, you know my position. Deport their asses. To me, remember years ago, police department opened up a pawn shop, and they were accepting everything in. Everything. Then at the end of the deal, they threw a huge ass party and they invited every person that brought in a stolen item. And when they came in, they arrested them as they walked through the doors. They had a little table set up front to ensure that the person coming in was the known criminal that brought in stolen items to be pawned. Then when they went through the second door, cops were there to arrest them. This ought to be that. Every one of these illegals self-reporting, and then they got given their name, their street address, who they're married to. All the information's right there. Send out Border Patrol, pick their asses up, send out the U.S. Marshals, send out the FBI, send out the state police, and pick their asses up, arrest them, and deport them. If the spouses want to join them later, let the spouses join them later. But take them to the border right then and there. Because you freely admitted that you're here in the country illegally. So deport their asses right then and there on the spot. That's what ought to be happening here. Let me see if I can get this screen to share this time. In a 100% virtual program, fraud will be rampant, especially marriage fraud, said Rosemary Jenks, policy director for the Immigration Accountability Project. It's easy to produce fake marriage certificates and other documentary proof of long-term residence. It's a lot harder to fake a long-term marriage in person. As Biden described the program in June, it will apply to illegal immigrants who have been in the U.S. for at least 10 years or married to a U.S. citizen by the time of the program's announcement. Illegal immigrant children of the spouses will also be covered. They'll be granted a parole in place, which offers a preemptive defense against deportation and a work permit. Bringing many benefits of a tentative lawful status. The spouses will be allowed to apply for full legal status within the U.S. As I said, this should be nothing more than a way to find them to deport their asses. That's all there is to it. Deport them. I know y'all tired of hearing me sing that song. Oh yeah, you're right, Beth. That'll never happen. Even though that's what ought to happen, that won't be what happens. Okay. Now this just happened. I'm going to understand the reason why I'm going to show this, because while these three particular cases happened in England, in the UK, it happens here too. Remember, we just had a guy sentenced to prison for a meme. The same meme that Democrats have done. He was sentenced to prison for doing. The Democrats vote on the 8th while Republicans vote on the 7th. One of those type memes. That guy posted a racist comment on Facebook. got 15 weeks in jail. Another guy sold anti-immigration stickers. He got 24 months. Man who took advantage of a 12-year-old girl. 180 community hours, no prison time. Now, there's a slight difference here between these three gentlemen, if you haven't noticed. These two gentlemen are the same ethnic stock, natural born citizens of the UK. This gentleman was an immigrant. Following a certain religion of peace. Let's see here. The Washington Times has given me all kinds of fits this morning, so I'm going to try to close all these tabs for them. There is a video here. I've got to find it. And okay. Raskin. Okay. Jamie Raskin. Another one of these Democrats that, led the impeachment process against Trump. Listen to what the man had to say here.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer.
Now, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay. Congress has the authority to bar public officials who took an oath of allegiance to the U.S. Constitution from holding office if they engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution or gave aid or comfort to its enemies. Remember, that was enacted after the Civil War to prevent former Confederate officials from returning to power within the United States. Raskin, because remember, the Democrats' big lie that Trump led an insurrection on January 6th. Trump led that insurrection. He's an insurrectionist. Well, that's what Raskin's hanging his hat on here.
What it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war.
So if Trump wins the election, Raskin wants the Congress to stop Trump from being sworn in as the president because he led an insurrection. This is the party of democracy in action. This is the party that wants to protect democracy. And one of their hotshots, one of their big boys, is sitting there saying that if Trump is elected, Congress isn't going to allow him to be sworn in because they accuse him of being an insurrectionist. He's never been charged with insurrection. He's never been tried as an insurrectionist. He's never been convicted of being an insurrectionist. He's been accused by the Democrats, in my opinion, falsely accused of there being an insurrection. And he led it on January 6th. And then he's saying, well, we're all going to need bodyguards when we do that because these Trump people are so violent. If Trump people are so violent, where were the riots after Trump got shot? I mean, think about it. Democrats will riot over a meth head being abused by the police. A man who pointed a gun or a knife at the belly of a pregnant woman. A man who is passing counterfeit money. A man whose blood was so full of drugs, the autopsy said he died of a drug overdose. Or would have died of a drug overdose. And we had riots for months over that. And the Democrats loved those riots. Could you imagine what they would do if somebody took a pot shot at one of their candidates? The Democrats have been rioting now for 8 years. To me, when you have 8 years of rioting, that is an insurrection. That's terrorism. Republicans one day show up and protest, and it's an insurrection. They do it on one day, and it's an insurrection. But the Democrats do it for years, and it's nothing.
Conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that, what can be.
I love it when a Democrat sits there and says, the Constitution says this and we have to go by it. Well, where's that energy when it comes to the Second Amendment? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How much clearer can that be there, Raskin? I'm just using the Second Amendment as one of many things in the Constitution that are clearly stated. And the Democrats don't like it, so they ignore it. Now, I haven't watched much news television here lately, the past couple of days. Yeah, he wants a coup there, Tar. But then, are we really surprised that a Democrat is sitting there saying we should ignore the results of an election because we don't like the person that got elected? When their own candidate is a person who did not receive a single vote by the people in order to run, that they stepped in and removed the candidate that had all the votes because they realized that he wasn't going to make it, he wasn't going to win. And if we really want to get right down to it, why shouldn't Kamala, the vice president, why shouldn't every member of the House cabinet, or excuse me, the White House, presidential cabinet, why shouldn't every member of them people be impeached and charged with lying to the American public about the condition of the president of the United States? Why shouldn't they be charged for lying about the condition, the mental capacity of the president of the United States? They all knew Joe Biden was a walking Alzheimer patient. They knew it. And they all lied to us for years until they couldn't lie to us anymore because it got too plain to see. This Democratic Party leaves so much to the mind to sit there and think, what do they actually stand for of the values that this country was founded on? What do they actually stand for? Because the only thing I can see is if this Democratic Party is no longer a party that respects our Constitution or our history, and they want to turn us into a socialist, communist empire. That's what they want to turn us into. But that's just me, people. That's just me. I don't know what else to say. Raskin, that if that had been a Republican making that statement, that would have been headline news everywhere. Saying what Raskin said. That would have been headline news. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of news this past couple 3 days. I've had other things going on in my life that's made taken priority. But I haven't seen anything on the feeds about CNN talking about Raskin saying that. ABC, NBC, CBS. I haven't seen. I may be wrong, but I haven't seen it. Maybe one of you guys have seen it on the news. When I made a quick Google search of it, okay, Red State Media, PJ Media, American Greatness, okay, and then that's it. That's it. There's nothing else there. Okay. So is our media really that much? Well, that just shows how deep in the hole our media system is for the Democratic Party. They're no longer honest. Okay, no longer honest. Okay, they haven't been for a long time. But anyway, guys, ladies and gents, I'm coming up on my 2 hour mark, and I've got Beth. I watch it, and I sit here and cringe the whole time I do it, and the wife makes me shut up. She'll tell me to stuff a sock in it because I sit here and I start. What a lying. That's not what was said. You're a liar. Stop lying to the people. Tell the truth for a change. Yeah, that's me during the whole thing. But anyway, ladies, gents, Beth, thank you for coming out. Tyre, thank you. Josh, I hope everything went well. Digi, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you guys. Wiley, I appreciate you guys coming out and listening to me. Raman, you're a sweetheart. I love you. You know that. Everybody, try to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Stay out of trouble. And as always, be with the ones you love the ones that you're with, and have a good day.